Conrad Zerini and Lynn Hoffman, who are just two of the most outstanding people, invited me to a Ritz-Carlton presentation. I guess I'm just going to move something up here. They invited me to a Ritz-Carlton presentation a month ago, and it was unbelievable, and it's really made me question a few different things, and it's made me question a lot of things about the service level in our industry and our business. So I'm going to cover what I think is the top 6 takeaways that I learned from it, and some of the things that we're seeing, because I think that this is where you're seeing the industry go, is going to go into more service level, and we're seeing that in coaching quite a bit. We're seeing a lot of the teams and the businesses that are not doing the Ritz-Carlton stuff. They're kind of just being very transactional. It's very interesting to see. So here's a couple things. First thing is that the Ritz-Carlton is the leader. If you've never stayed there, I'm going to tell you my personal story, then I'm going to tell you my 6 takeaways. My personal story with the Ritz-Carlton is incredible. Okay. I was going there on a business trip. And it was really interesting. So I went on a business trip, and I was in a conference all day, and I was speaking at the conference, so I didn't have a lot of time. I was trying to eat healthier, so I went down to Whole Foods. I walked to Whole Foods, and I was walking to Whole Foods, and I got all this stuff, and I stocked the fridge up in my hotel room. And what I did, though, is I'm not the best at this, so I increased the temperature on the fridge because it felt like it was like a little warm. Well, anyway, I guess I increased it to the point where it froze all the food in my fridge. And so when I woke up the next day, and I was there for a 4-day conference. And so when I woke up the next day, everything was actually frozen. And I was like, you got to be freaking kidding. So we all know what happens when you freeze food. It goes bad. You can't really. So I took all the food out. I put it in a garbage bag, and I put it outside of my room. And when I was leaving to go to the conference for the day, and like, this is no fault of the Ritz. This is my fault. And so when I was leaving the room, I went to the front desk and I said, hey, listen, just give me a heads up. There is a garbage bag outside of my room, and it's got a bunch of food thawing. And I was going to lug it around, but I didn't want to because maybe you have a better method for it. So I thought I'd just leave it there. And they're like, well, what happened? I said, I didn't blame them. I said, I turned up the fridge, and this is what I did, and I'm an idiot. And they were like, oh, okay, cool. Thank you for letting us know. We'll make sure it's like removed away from the hallway as soon as possible. So I go to the conference all day, and during the day, I'm going, okay, you know what? I've got to go back, and I've got to buy all this food again. Okay, so that's what went through my head. I'm like, I got to go back there. I got to do this. So anyway, what ended up happening is that I showed up at my room after the conference. I walk into my room, and there's a note. There's like a platter of like, really good food. And I'm like, what is this? So I go into the fridge. My whole fridge is restocked. The entire fridge is restocked with everything that was in the bag. So somebody went through the bag, which is disgusting, but they went through it anyway. And they took everything down. And when I came back, they were like, hopefully, we understand you're here on business and you don't have time for these kind of things. So hopefully you accept that we went ahead and we stocked your fridge back up with everything that was in the garbage bag. Plus we also, based on your eating profile, we ended up giving you a bunch of other options that were suggested to us at Whole Foods that would really be, in alignment with what your eating style and habits are. I literally was like, what? And I said, well, how much do I owe you for this? Because you saved me a lot of time. Anyway, nothing. So that's the type of service that you get from the Ritz-Carlton. It is mind-blowing. So one of the 6 is, the first thing is they anticipate the needs of their customers. So the Ritz-Carlton empowers its employees to anticipate the needs of their guests. That's one of the things that they do all the time. They proactively provide services to exceed the expectations. That's the thing, is the word exceeds the expectations. They call it the wow experience, right? Which I think is amazing. For example, exceeding expectations would be what happened to me, but they have another thing where if a guest is running late to a meeting, a Ritz-Carlton staff member may proactively offer to call a taxi or get them a shuttle to ensure the guest arrives on time. Like, they're always doing things to exceed it. There's a really amazing thing. And I'll tell you about the next one because it's just mind blowing. The next one is personalizing the experience. Okay. So there's a story that they told us that, when valet parks the car, okay, they can look in the cup holder and see what you're drinking or eating or anything like that. And they put it on your profile, which is amazing. So if you have a Diet Coke in your car, they're going to make sure that you have Diet Coke available to you, or they may even surprise you with that, which I think is phenomenal. So that's what we refer to, number 2, as the personalizing the experience. The Ritz-Carlton recognizes that every single guest that is unique. And what they do is they strive to make it a personalized experience. So what they do as staff members, the staff members are trained to gather information about their guest preferences and then tailor their service accordingly. If we don't, can you imagine how the real estate experience would be is if you literally did that for your clients? If you literally showed up to their house and you noticed that they had, let's say something, Diet Coke. out there. And you were like, next time, if they were like, okay, we sold our house, we're going to go buy a house with you guys, and you had Diet Cokes and you just did that? Or how many times, your client might have a Starbucks coffee, right on the label is exactly what they ordered. How many times do you look at that Starbucks label and actually bring that to fruition and say, okay, well, this person loves lattes? I literally had that happen to me. It's a service provider. I love her. Her name's Rachel. She's amazing. And she sent me a thing and she's like, here, and she sent me a Starbucks. And I was like, how did you know this was my drink? She literally did. She heard I was having a day and she was like, oh, and all of a sudden this Starbucks shows up from her. She's not even in the same city as me. And I said, how did you know that? She goes, She goes, I just pay attention. And I'm like, holy shit, that was amazing. Okay. And I was blown away and I was like, okay, check mark. We suck at that. But anyway, the point is that what they do is they offer specialized services like customized pillows or providing a special meal with dietary requirements. They know stuff about their people that is outstanding. The next thing that they do is they empower their employees. This is a big one. Okay. The Ritz-Carlton empowers its employees to make decisions on ownership. Like they own it. And they talked a lot about this in the conference or the session that we attended. They said, too many times in our businesses and our teams, we micromanage everybody in our organization instead of allowing them to respond to solutions. And, if the problem arises, it can get escalated if they don't have empowerment and they're not able to do that themselves. So I thought it was really cool they don't have to wait for a manager's approval. If something happens, they're allowed to make that decision right away at the Ritz. So that's like really what you do is you're empowering your employees. So when you're looking at your own company, what do your employees or the agents you have in your organization, are they allowed to actually go the extra mile? Are you empowering them? Okay, next one, number 4, creating a culture of excellence. I thought this was a big one. The Ritz-Carlton has a strong, huge culture of excellence that is built on the foundation of their core values. And core values is how you should hire people. These values are, for the Ritz-Carlton, it's respect, integrity, teamwork, guide the behavior of all staff members and ensure they're constantly delivering exceptional service. And how you can do that is there was a question that the speaker for the Ritz-Carlton was sitting at our table, and he said something that I thought was really amazing. He said, if you're a top real estate agent, are people using you because you're the best, like meaning you have the best marketing, you're showing that you're the best, or are they using you because they get wow service? Like, do they get wow service from you and they're coming back because they had a wow experience? And if they do, how many times on social media are you being tagged because you had wow experience? And, the truth is that a lot of us have to tag other people. Even in our own organization, it's like, well, we looked at that and we're really putting a conscious effort for the summertime. We're going to be working on a whole plan around this. But, how do we get people to say, wow? How do we get them to do wow? And how do you do that? You have to, it takes a lot of work, especially in real estate. But I want you to kind of think about it for a second. How do you get a customer if they're closing on a transaction? How do you get them to do a wow? What is it that they're saying? If they're calling you up, are you doing a feedback check-in? Are you paying attention to anything on social media? Are you blowing their mind away? Are they choosing to use you because you give them a wow experience? Or are they choosing to use you because you're just the best at what you do? Okay. And the truth is I'm always vulnerable during these live feeds, is that we really looked at it as a team and we said, our experience level, we want to be wow. Okay. We make our clients a lot of money because we're great at what we do, but I don't think we really go that extra mile and wow them. And that's being very honest, because we're not perfect either. And that's why I'm sharing this, because it holds us accountable too. So we have a very conscious, my biggest takeaway was that, I think it's the goal of every business owner to be like, okay, sure, you're top of your game and you're excellent at what you do and people choose you because you get results. But at the end of the day, how many of them are choosing you because you literally made the experience go, wow, that was amazing? And that's somewhere where we're really trying to focus in on. And again, you can't be everything to everybody. In business, we grow. That's how it is. Next one. Okay. So use of technology to enhance the guest experience. The Ritz-Carlton uses technology to enhance the guest experience. For example, the guest can use a mobile app to check in and out. They can access their room key, which is amazing. And they can request services right from an app. It's crazy. Okay. And the hotel uses that experience to improve services over time. So you're really looking at technology technology to be utilized. So when you're doing a transaction with people, like, here's my thing. The easiest thing that you can do, and I've said this for years, how many times are you going back and when you do a transaction and finding out when their mortgage expires? When are you actually doing that? If you're sitting there and you're looking at that, wouldn't that be the easiest information? And then if it's 6 months before their mortgage expires, you reaching out going, hey, listen, Vicki, it's Marianne. I'm just reaching out to you. I know your mortgage is expiring according to what you said in 6 months from now. So we have an appointment already lined up for you so you can have a discussion with a proper mortgage representative to make sure you make the right decisions. That's amazing. How are we not doing that in real estate? How is that not happening? And I have been saying that for like literally 8 years now. That's next level. We should know that shit. How many times do you go into your customer profile instead of just sending a happy birthday card? How's about, what do you know about that customer? Don't send a happy birthday. Why don't you give them something that they actually really love? Like if I'm a Diet Coke drinker, great. Send me that. I'm an athlete. I love to do Ironmans. You know what? So instead of wishing me a happy birthday, I don't know, it'd be kind of cool if you followed when my next Ironman was and you sent me a shout out, because they have apps, or you tracked me and said, hey, I just want to let you know, crush the race this weekend. We don't know enough about our consumers that we're tracking them. We're becoming too transactional. And the Ritz-Carlton is really showing us a way that we can become less transactional. And the last one I want to touch on is continuous improvement. The Ritz-Carlton has this rigorous system for monitoring guest feedback and using it to improve services. It includes regular surveys. They get regular follow-up calls and to make sure that guests are satisfied. So the next thing I was going to suggest is, how many times do you guys as CEOs, if you have a team underneath you, are you calling that customer and saying, you know what? You don't have to. You can get your admin to call. Okay. The owner of the Ritz-Carlton is not making all the calls. Okay. You can leverage that out and you can easily do a survey. And you'd be like, if you have a buyer agent on your team and you want to know if they did a great job, well, send a survey out. And just say, here, there's going to be a survey on our experience level after closing. Want to make sure. You will never get such honest feedback as you will then. But most of us won't do that. And the reason we won't do that is because maybe we're not confident that we did the right thing. Maybe we're not confident we did provide great service. So I think at the end of the day, those are all the things that are really critical to how we do business. And I think you can really improve them. Okay. So those are our 6 biggest takeaways of what we got from it. My challenge to you guys on this Facebook Live is to take some of those, look at how you can incorporate them to our business and really say, what would our business change if you did a survey and you found out that you didn't do a great job on one area? But if you don't ask, you're never going to know. And if you don't know how to wow people, then maybe that's also some area that you need to look at this summer and start fixing some of these gaps. But personally speaking, I was blown away by the Ritz-Carlton. I was blown away by the whole process of everything there. And to be honest with you, I think if we can all just kind of take our service levels to the next level and really start you're going to see the trend in real estate is more focus on the consumer. It's going to be less on transactions and more on the consumer feeling like, listen, I'm using these guys because they're great. They make me feel great. It's a wow experience. And not only do they get the job done, but the experience is outstanding. So watch and see. Incorporate some of this stuff and let me know if it works. Bye, guys.